Basira, now your new shop be this.
Yes, so. Now my new shop be this.
This one a mega upgrade with this girl.
Now so, as that time they upgrade their customers. This Easter season, I say make me to shock my customer with mega upgrade.
That time don't they do upgrade again?
Yes, so.
For this Easter, pay 2 months for Nova Bouquet. StarTimes go upgrade you, go basic or smart bouquet. Pay 2 months for basic or smart bouquet. StarTimes go upgrade you, go classic or super bouquet. Pay 2 months for classic or super bouquet. You go watch extra 10 days free. You fit be one of the lucky customers wey go get Easter hamper from StarTimes for your domo. E never finish show. This Easter, StarTimes don reduce the total price from 9,400 naira to 7,400 naira for DTT and from 13,200 naira to 11,200 naira for DTH. This promo na from March 1 go reach April 30, 2021. Go recharge, make you enjoy better entertainment this Easter. Terms and conditions dey sha. StarTimes, enjoy digital life.
The Lord told me to speak with you and share with you is this. With God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible.
Join us every Saturday on NTA Abeokuta via StarTimes, channel 103, and our social media platforms for a spiritual refreshing with Christ Faith Tabernacle International Cathedral, Ebenezer Building, 186 Police Street, Woolwich, London, SE 186NL. On our program, Voice of Hope, with presiding Bishop Alfred T.B. Williams, with a rebroadcast Wednesday, 7:30 p.m.
May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. May he send you help in this week from his sanctuary. May he grant you support this week from Zion.
Make it a date with us for spiritual uplift on Christ Faith Tabernacle, Voice of Hope, Saturdays and Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. on NTA Abeokuta via StarTimes channel 103 and our social media handles.
Jesus is Lord.
Mariyaba bika Ramadan. Mariyaba bika Ramadan. Aki ni kiki ọlá. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Aki kwa àmójúbà oṣù Ramadan. Bí àwẹ̀ ti wọlé dé wẹ́rẹ́, iléeṣẹ́ NTA Abeokuta ké sí ẹ̀yin oníní dúdùn ọlọ́rẹ láti wá ṣe onígbọ̀wọ́ àwọn ètò oníranran eléyìí tí iléeṣẹ́ NTA Abeokuta ti pèsè sílẹ̀ fún yín láti jẹ àǹfààní oore tó pọ̀ tó sodo sínú àwẹ̀ Ramadan. Àwọn ètò wa bíi ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí, ọba ẹlẹ́san, tafsir al-Quran, Ramadan Kareem, pèsè ìrun kí Allah ṣọ́wa jálẹ̀ àwẹ̀. Láti ṣe onígbọ̀wọ́ tàbí àlàyé ní kíkún, ẹ pè 08028292330 tàbí 08028766190. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan.
To every road user, safety is non-negotiable. For tips on how to ensure safety and sanity on our road, watch Trace FR.
For information on traffic rules and regulations as well as compliance, watch Trace FR, a public enlightenment an educative program designed to make our roads safe at all times.
Every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. on NTA Abeokuta, StarTimes channel 103. Trace FR. It promises to be insightful. Don't miss it.
Tonight on the news, as Nigeria marks International Day for Street Children, government urged to check minutes of street children. Resident doctors resume work in Ogun State after 2 weeks of industrial action. Plus, updates from the world of sports. Good evening and welcome to NTA Channel 12 News at 7. I am Yemi, Dalemo with the news. Resident doctors in Ogun State have returned to duty following the suspension of the industrial action by the Nigeria Association of Resident Doctors, which lasted 2 weeks to pave way for negotiation with the federal government. Abolore Ogbara visited Federal Medical Center NTA Abeokuta to monitor the situation.
The situation at the Federal Medical Center in Ogun State shows that doctors are now attending to patients for various medical needs, while some of the patients were taking their prescriptions to the hospital's pharmacy for drugs. Chairman, National Association of Resident Doctors of Nigeria, FMC chapter, Dr. Oluwabusuyi Adebiyi says the decision behind the suspension was motivated by their desire to save many lives and strengthen the medical needs of Nigerians.
The update now is that the strike has been suspended for 4 weeks for the review of the implementation of all that have been agreed on in the memorandum of action. And then we can see, if you go around the hospital, see doctors are at work. All my members have resumed, and then we are offering our services, and then everyone that needs the services of doctors, Federal Medical Center Abeokuta, the resident doctors are on ground.
Expressing the hardships being experienced during the strike, some patients commended the association for the suspension and called on federal government to prefer lasting solution to doctors' strike in the country.
They have attended to me very well. I just hope and I pray so that they will not strike again.
Anyway, they are trying. They are trying their best. To the best of my ability and to the little I have attended the place, the services is second to none compared to some hospitals.
I want to believe, and I want to call on all Nigerians, that we want to give them the best of care to our abilities and the resources that are available at our disposal, and that they should help plead with the government to help us do the needful and keep to their own side.
The leadership of the National Association of Resident Doctors of Nigeria says the strike was suspended for 4 weeks to allow federal government come up with ways to address the demands of the association, which include payment of COVID-19 allowance, payment of death in service insurance to members who died as a result of COVID-19, payment of salaries to all house officers, upward review of hazard allowance, among others. In Abeokuta, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has launched a new climate change indicators dashboard. It is an international statistical initiative to address the growing need for data in macroeconomy and financial policy analysis to facilitate climate change mitigation and adaptation. Onengie Fineface reports.
International Monetary Fund Climate Change Dashboard is a single platform that brings together experimental climate change indicators, which allows comparison across countries. The indicators were developed in cooperation with international organizations and agencies, including the World Bank, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, among others. The dashboard covers greenhouse gas emissions from economic activity, trade in environmental goods, green finance, government policies, and physical and transition risks.
This dashboard is an agile statistical response to the growing needs of climate-related data use in policy analysis and surveillance. As you know, climate change is a critical macroeconomic challenge that requires fiscal, financial, and structural policy response.
IMF says to develop the right measures to tackle climate change, governments need robust and comparable data. The new dashboard will therefore help fill data gaps so policymakers can undertake the macroeconomic and financial analysis that underpins effective policies. The indicators are grouped into 4 categories: economic activity and climate, cross-border, financial, physical, and transition risks, and government policy indicators. Onengie Fine Face, NTA News.
Pansheke Bridge in Abeokuta, Ogun State is one of the longest pedestrian flyovers in sub-Saharan African countries. Despite its uniqueness and aesthetics, some street children and other miscreants have allegedly turned the place to their residence where they carry out various kinds of abuses. Some concerned Nigerians shared their views with Akim Jimo on the need by government to check the menace of street children and protect government properties in the state as Nigeria joins the world over to mark this year's International Day of Street Children. No doubt, majority of street children have no home other than the streets, while some of them are victims of broken homes who feel unsafe and neglected. And so the situation is not different in Ogun State, where some of these street children are now making use of the pedestrian bridge at Pansheke as home where they beg for survival.
Some of them do not work. They try to pickpockets or do some other sharp practices because of maybe the impact of that environment on them. The environment is harsh, but nobody is ready to take them off the streets.
So children with no guidance, children with no parents, no family, no relative, they have no choice but to go to a place or anywhere they can find to survive. That's why we see them on the streets begging. Some they even find themselves doing things that they are not supposed to do, all in the name of they want to survive.
These children who do not have access to education said they are not finding living easy as they are exposed to some abuses and dangerous substances.
For the children that have been living on the street for a while, some children might have gotten through some things that might be negative, while some will still want to do the right thing. Most of them are in Lafenwa market. You see them carrying loads for people. They do menial jobs for people and get paid. But the attitude I've seen that is persistent is that they try to spend everything they get in one day.
Efforts to speak with the authorities in charge of the upkeep of children in Ogun State were fruitless as they declined comment on efforts by government to rescue these children from the streets and turn their lives around. The International Day for Street Children is observed world over on April the 12th to recognize the humanity, dignity, and defiance of street children in the face of unimaginable hardships. Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo has tasked Nigerians to collaborate more with the government to realize a nation of their founding fathers. He gave this admonition at the 46th President Party of the Abeokuta Club, where he was decorated as a trustee of the club. Mohammed Adebowale completes the report.
Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, after the investiture, urged Nigerians to continue to contribute to nation's development by being patriotic. He assured the Abeokuta Club that he, as a trustee member, uphold the essence of the club founded in 1972.
When Abeokuta Club was in the process of being built, things in Abeokuta were not as rosy as they are today. And the sons of Abeokuta Club, or the sons of Abeokuta, who are in Lagos, put their heads together to think of what they could do to improve the laws of Abeokuta as a city. And what they could do to contribute to the development of Abeokuta.
President of the club, Tokunbo Odebumi, while addressing the gathering, reiterated the commitment of the club in the promotion of every effort geared towards further development of Egba Nation and Ogun State in general.
Those in government, that they are there at the pleasures of the people. They should cater for the people.
Other guests, having witnessed the contributions of Abeokuta Club to the socio-economic development of Ogun State, encouraged other non-governmental organizations to follow suit in the interest of national development.
I think it's a wise decision to honor both Baba Obasanjo and the late MKO. So to have a reminiscences of the past heroes that have done well for this great city.
The people of Egba land have made so much landmark achievement in the development of Nigeria as a whole. And of course, this is what I'm proud of.
Alone cannot do it. So it behoves on organizations, clubs, forums like this to add their own contribution to the development of our society.
The annual president party of the Abeokuta Club was a rallying point for members of the club to come together and chart the cause of Egba Nation, particularly on growth and developmental fronts. The 46th edition not only brought members and their friends together to wine and dine, but also brought to the fore issues regarding upliftment of the Egba Nation, Ogun State, and Nigeria at large. The late Mrs. Mogul Moshood Kashimawo Abiola also investituted as vice patron at Abeokuta Club posthumously. In Abeokuta, Mohammed Adibawade, NTA News.
And it's on that note that we conclude the news tonight. We thank you for watching. Good night.